are now live on Facebook.
Yay!
Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm going to drop that screen, and here we are, and here you are, and here I am.
Yeah.
We are recording, so let's do this. Welcome.
Yes, let's.
Welcome. Thank you for this opportunity to interview you.
Well, thank you, Ems, for this wonderful opportunity. You know, I have to say, I've got much love for London, England right now, because that's your home. I know you're in Portugal, but that's your original homeland. My book was published in London, England, so I'm getting a lot of love from London. So thank you so very much. I'm very humble and I'm very honored. Very honored. Thank you, Ems. Yes. And I just want people to know our divine union, how we met.
Oh, yeah. That was divine.
Right up the Agape Center, Beverly Hills, with Michael Beckwith.
Yes.
So, it's crazy. I just noticed, I said, you clicked on some things that on his website that I liked. I'm like, you know what? This chick seems kind of cool. Maybe I should add her on as a friend. And most of the people, they ignore you. They're like, I'm not gonna, add this person on. And you accepted my friendship invitation, and I guess the rest is history. So yeah. I really think our relationship is a divine consequence, and I think what we're trying to do is bring divinity in everything amidst all the ugliness that's currently happening.
Yeah, you got away with words. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I'm trying to think, because it's like the first thing is like I say to you, like, have you got a quote for this? And you sent me this thing, and I don't want to appear stupid, right? I've seen them big words. I've seen them big words before. I haven't got a clue what I mean. All I know is I'm pro-love and I'm anti-anything that brings about division in society. I don't care what it is and what name it is. I just want love, right? So when you bring about them words, it's a very specific kind of love, and it's a specific kind of target audience, if you like. I would really like you to explain that, what it means to you, so I understand it, because
it's huge. Okay, let's begin. When I say global demographics, I'm speaking about racial ethnicities, and it's dynamic. But that's in this fourth dimension. As we are spiritual beings, this is very shallow. It's transitory. However, most human beings are not at that evolutionary level. They're trapped in their egos, and they can't make. That's what this book is about: the transcendence of our egos. Yes. But when you can't transcend your ego, you're fixated on race, on politics, religion, sexual orientation, and other nonsensical things that are transitory and that cause such human pain historically, in the present moment, and possibly in the future. So, okay, this is a situation 2021. Why, and this is your idea, why is racism so violent? Like in the United States, I think any other country, maybe Brazil, we have police brutality to the point of, if you are a Afro-American male or woman, your life is at risk. You're not doing anything. You're running away from the scene, and you end up dead. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Ems. My father is a retired policeman. He's been on the force for 30 years, never had any issues. it's not about policing. And that's what people, the media, they're not getting to the root. They're looking at the leaves and the branches. It's not about policing. What we have are fascists infiltrating the police department. It's not just the police department, it's the military. We saw that on January 6th at the US Capitol, okay, 2021. And you scratch your head, you say, why? Why is this fascist thing that, that happened in the 1930s in Germany, the 1920s in Italy? What is going on? Why are, people of Jewish descent, the synagogues, why are they being attacked and murdered? What? Or, Asians now, people from, Asia. What it is, and this is not to offend anybody. I'm a root I get to the bottom, I get to the truth.
Yeah.
Europeans are becoming a global minority.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. And not everybody is angry about it. And I listen sometimes to, when he was alive, Rush Limbaugh. I go on some websites, some white supremacist websites, and they always say, we will not be replaced by Jews or whatever race. This is the fear that Rush Limbaugh and many white supremacists are espousing. They think that because their population is dwindling, people of color are now the dominant population on the earth, and that they will do to them, for the past 300 years, or 1619, whenever slavery started, to whites, that they've done to people of color around the world. And I can tell you, as a person of color, we're not thinking about that. We just want free, we want equity, we want fairness. Nobody's thinking about revenge. But like you said, I love your website, I love your mindset. You're about love. If you love yourself, you will love everybody. This stems from fear. It's not hate. Fear breeds hatred, jealousy, perversions, murder. It's all fear. And, I don't know, people can't really unify and see beyond the senses. We come from one source, and we're made in his or her image. It's, we're souls. We're beams of light. Carlos Pineda, he talked about writer from Peru, diamonds under their beauty, states, which what we look like, the beams of light, like the sun. Everything, we're connected to every universe. And people, because of this enslavement to our egos, we see separatism. And that is causing all the hate. But the fact is the changing demographics. And it's not all white. You know that. But there are some extremists that are feeling, hey, my race is not winning here. We're not going to be the majority. So what do we have to do to try to save it? So on that note, Ems, I would like you to be honest and share. Because I want to talk. I want to get to solutions. I don't want to talk. I don't want to waste people's time. You speak about the truth, because you can't heal anything if you don't get to the root to it. What needs to be done?
Well, for me, I see a lot of this is something called ancestral karmic consciousness. I see that things that have gone on in the past, people thinking, and it all started, right, because years ago, right, when humans first walked the planet, we was all black, right? So what happened? We started in one place, we started spreading out, and we were like one person against the other, but we all lived together, we all worked together, we all respected each other. This was my land, that was your land, whatever. And over time and over space, people started to become greedy, right? So one person would be like, you got more than me, I want that, right? And then they start building up this thing. And then eventually you got to this stage where that person was scared of that person, right? And then you got two people who are leaders who are wanting to fight. And then instead of it all being all peace and love, which is a lot of the Native American Indian stuff, right, where we just sit and smoke a peace pipe, or down in the kahunas and the shamans, the kahunas on Hawaii, they used to sit down with tribes, and they used to sit and they would smoke and they would do the Ho'oponopono ceremony. And I'm a Ho'oponopono practitioner. I'm all in for it's about reconciliation and bringing people together, because you hear the other person out. You hear out and you go, you're scared, okay, so how are you feeling right now? Do you want to talk about that? You speak without the other person. Then the other person goes, I've heard you. Do you know? And I feel like this, right? And that other person goes, I'm hearing you, man. And you got two people going, seriously, I'm hearing you. I love you. I forgive you. You're my neighbor. We are one love. They do a bow or whatever, and then they move away and they just get on with things. Today in society, we don't have someone who sits with someone and goes, do you know what? Let's hear each other out. You shut up, you speak. You shut up, you speak. Is everyone hearing each other? Can everyone see that we are still souls? Can everyone see that we are just one love, and that our one love has just got a million different names with all these different religions all around the world? Do you know? Because we are all souls. That's what we are. We are souls. We are love. And souls have no sexuality. They are not in any way like colored. They're just they're just beings. They're just, and every single one of us is the same. We are all equal. And until people start to join together and say, do you know what? I really want to hear you. I'm not hearing you to listen and say my piece. I am going to hear you. I am going to hear your words. I am going to hear what's going on in your mind. I'm going to hear and listen till I feel how you feel right now. And then when you're done, and only when you say you're done, and I'm going to go, okay, man, this is how I feel. And then people will start to love. They'll start to bridge that divide with love. They'll start to realize that we're not our money. We are not where we were born. We are not our disability. We are not our sexuality. We are not the amount of money we have or do not have. We are love. That is the way to move forward, to recognize each other as souls, as beings, as human beings, instead of just things that collect money and collect land. And I am better than you. I have more land than you. I have more money, and therefore that makes me a more human person. I've never heard so much bullshit in my entire life, right? Because we're told this. Society tells us this. It tells us that we have to have so much money to be someone. We have to have certain jobs to be acceptable in society. We have to be able to sit with one another, and we have our roles, and we're just playing our roles, playing the game, and then we're accepted. As soon as someone steps away from that role and starts to actually just be, they're usually called out for being individual. Someone says, I love you. And someone goes, yeah, but you can't love them. They're the same sex as what you are. And you're like, wow, man, but I just love that person. That person is just like, wow, we just connected. We just clicked. It's just love. And society's going, well, you can't love that person. Love shouldn't survive. Love shouldn't be a thing for you right now. That is wrong. You know, and they say, if you're disabled, you're less than. If you've got a certain color, you're less than. And you know, people who aren't white get less, statistically, get less access to all the things in healthcare and stuff like that. And that makes me sick, right? Yeah. Because it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're ill, right? And you deserve the right, same treatment, the divine right to that same treatment as any other soul who is just as ill as you are. It shouldn't be about where we're born or where we live or the money that we have or the abilities or disabilities, because, you know, we might be calling this progress where we got to today. I don't call it progress. Progress was when we were back all that time ago, when we were acting and appreciating everyone else's skills and individuality. We were embracing the authenticity, because some people were medicine people, some people were builders, some people were hunter-gatherers, some people brought up the children, but everyone was in a community, and it didn't matter whether you was 2 years old or 70, 80 years old, you had a place, you belonged. And now in society, there is no true community unless you really look for it. Everyone's, this is my place, that is your place, we're not going to share space, or you're only going to, you know, and it's okay to respect one another's place and space and love each other. You don't have to be on each other's like toes or whatever, or under each other's feet, but just to respect that other person and say, do you know what, you've got some skills, man. Yeah. And I love the fact that you've got some skills and I don't have them skills. Let's work together.
But we all have a different skill set.
Yes.
You know what? We all have, like, I think about what Michael Beckwith always says, what we're not here to get. What are we here to contribute?
Yes.
And, you know, COVID-19 was an awakening. You know, I had nothing to do. And I mean, literally nothing to do. And I'm like thinking, okay, what can I do? Manuscripts been sitting in the closet for about 24, 25 years. And I said, you know what? I'm bored to death. I better finish this. And everything's about timing. Because I think if this came out 25 years ago, I wouldn't be ready for the reaction, because I hit on some hot topics, which a lot of people really aren't at a certain evolution, whether it's religion I talk about. And it's not just about, you know, racism with whites against everything. No. I talk about how the Irish were treated with the Irish Republican Party, and in England, up in Londonderry, where the IRA was founded, and how even Irish immigration to the United States was horrific during that time. You know, we used to have ads in the paper. Irish need not apply. You know, I mean, they were treated like dogs, like dirt. And a lot of people forget that. Everyone has experienced discrimination and hardship in some way. And then I got deeper. I'm talking about the gypsies that are Irish and how they're really discriminated within their own Irish community and Anglo community. So everyone feels it. Everyone feels the sting of being oppressed or ostracized for no reason, as you said. But we have to come together. We must come together. And to get off topic, but with the recent phenomena of possible extraterrestrials coming around all on the news, well, I mean, I'll give myself away. We're a vast universe. Of course they're here. Of course. We better be united as a human family. And I think, you know, we shouldn't have to have a worldwide situation where we unite on something like that, because I think that's out of fear. But we're not the most intelligent people on the planet or in the universe, in the galaxy. How we act? Some of us are more evolved than we are. They love their children. They don't abuse the environment, things like that. So, you know, this character right here, Jasmine Breeze, I made her biracial and bisexual. So she has eyes and the insight to see from both perspectives of those two worlds and how she's conflicted by because of her parents' religion or some of her friends. Because the brilliance with this character, we in the United States, we have a rule called the one drop rule. And that is if you of African blood, you're considered Black. So during slavery and during the Reconstruction, a lot of quote unquote Blacks were passing or being identified as white. Nobody knew that they were Black, and it was very commonplace in the southern states. So you get your DNA done. And I love this show called Finding Our Roots by Dr. Skippy Gates. He shows how we're all connected. He's an Afro-American man. He's got an Irish cousin. I mean, we're all really connected. We shouldn't have to go through DNA analysis. But like you said, we're souls. We're one. And that show, Finding Our Roots, is showing that in a very minuscule way on PBS. So kudos to that. And kudos to us. We're just trying to show connections. We're trying to. There's no need to fear. And if we can get that hideous word out of our vocabulary, out of our consciousness, fear, then you have love. And you know, love's not about, oh, I'm in love with somebody. It's about really loving who we are, being in love with ourselves, and that'll radiate out to everything. I mean, I've learned that, you know, if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anybody else. And like you said, people pick up on that. They'll pick it up immediately. Oh, there's a desperation here. They're seeking, they're longing. And it's not easy because, you know, a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma, you know, whether family trauma, incest, or, you know, all kinds of things. And in my book, I'm just trying to show you, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And things will happen. But that's the test. You have to rise above the pain. And let me, you know, I drink honest tea. And I wanted to share, they always have these cute little quotes in the cap.
Oh.
And it says, you see things and you say why, but I dream things that never were. And I say, why not? By G.B. Shaw. It's somebody I really love. Another one from England. So we're dreaming of a world of peace, not action, but of unity, where we can really work together. We can collaborate on ideas. We can possibly stop the wars and killings. And just have a better understanding of one another. We don't have to agree on everything, right? Because we're unique beings, but we can respect each other and honor each other and really celebrate our diversity as opposed to crucifying our differences.
Well, you know, Michael Beckwith says about pain, don't you?
Tell me, remind me, please, or remind us.
Pain. He says pain pushes until the feeling pulls. So the pain's pushing us until to such a point where we can't handle it no more, and then we're going, and we're looking at things differently, and we're going, you know what? This needs a whole new perspective. This needs a whole new way of dealing with this. And we're going, if we tune into ourselves, we'll feel that fear's not the way, there's a different way, and that way is unity.
Exactly.
So
and like, it's not an easy process. You know, ladies and gentlemen, global family, Ems and myself, we're not saying this is easy.
No.
It's a process, and it's a lifelong process. But another one that I mean, Ems, we're so right here, Sadhguru, for those of you who don't know, he's another mystic healer from India. And he's like, how, I watched the video, how to make other people, don't allow them to annoy you. Something that was
I agree with He's amazing.
It is, he's amazing. I mean, seriously, don't take yourself so seriously, people. It's not that serious. It really isn't. Life is such a journey, and to be enjoyed and try to learn something new every day. It's not serious. It really isn't. But thank you. And I just have to give you kudos because like I said, I really am searching. I love that you're on a spiritual path of enlightenment. And everybody's at their current level. You can't be a college professor and try to teach a kindergartner, nuclear physics because they're at where they are, and we respect that. But we do hope that people keep moving forward and not back. That's the scene. To England, to the right again with Brexit. And Ireland and Scotland, they're pretty upset about it. They don't want to be part of that. I watched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's interview on Oprah, and that the problem was everything was nice and pretty until she got pregnant. There you go again, worried about how this baby's going to look. How is Archie going to look? And it's like, why is that important? He loves her, and how blessing reminds me so much of his mother, Princess Diana, who a beautiful, beautiful spirit inside and out. And she's kind, she's giving. She, went to Angola for the landmines, and she really cared. And we want more people on the earth to just care. It doesn't have to be about your upbringing. How can you empower and make it somewhere else? And I really think Harry embodies that genuine care. But it's a problem. This is a problem. And I was share something in the book, but I'll let you finish. And I just want to get it out there and then get some people to. I don't see anybody joining us on here. Is anybody with us?
That doesn't matter because it's live on the thing, so people will join
so
in.
They can see. Okay. So I'm on page 14 and 15, and I wrote, this is very specific, Em. It says, realistically, Jasmine breeds may not enlighten the hearts and minds of militant members of the Aryan skinheads and other fringe white supremacist groups. However, I hope that my work will persuade one member from this group to form an alternative view and espouse that Black Lives Matter. Moreover, if the Not Fucking Around Coalition, NFAC, could forgive the repercussions of white supremacy during these acrimonious times, and not fucking around is very common to the Black Panthers. There are militia black group in the United States. I said, as the African slave trade and colonization were throughout America, Reconstruction was one of the most inspiring and perilous times for Afro-Americans. Whenever Black people gained significant accomplishments in the United States, a vicious and unrelenting white backlash is sure to accompany it. Most white European Americans like to change the narrative when it comes to race relations in America. Like, let's talk about the Confederacy. Most of the white Southerners claims that the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery. Hence, they rationalize that our country fought against one another solely for economic reasons. And see, this is what I'm getting at. We can't have lies. We must be truthful at any, like in the United States, stop the steal or election fraud is another baseless and disingenuous claim of the seditious and treasonous act, the insurrection on January 6, 2021 at the US Capitol. These domestic terrorists murdered, brutalized, and pillaged because President Obama's legacy was not eradicated by Trump's administration. And ironically, President Obama is an indelible mark on the US soil because his best man is now the president of the United States. And to make matters worse, Biden chose Kamala Harris, who is a stunningly beautiful Black biracial South Asian woman, to be his vice president. Now, these extremists feel that the Obama era is back with a vengeance. God forbid if Harris should become president. So that's fear that we're feeling in the United States. You know, the narrative is voter security, voting honesty. Come back to the 1950s. People of color, Native American tribes have to have, you know, I'm in Arizona. This is Native American land. Have to have certain ID to show who they are to vote. You know, we turn in certain mail-in voting. And it's not just Arizona. It's states in the South as well. People don't realize it was a Confederate state because a lot of the Confederate rebel prisoners left the South and came out west, so they didn't have to do a lot of prison time. But Arizona is a staunch conservative state. So I'm living in the belly of it. A lot of the people that were arrested for January 6th are right in my home state. I mean, this is, you know, I'm living it. I'm living it. Every day, I'm living it. The day President Obama made a speech, October 20th, 2020, my younger brother, he said, you go out, you be careful. This is before the election. Long story short, I was stopped by a policeman. Stop. What was I stopped for? You know, seriously, I don't have any tickets. I don't speed. I'm very, you know, light-footed. And he said, oh, you were speeding by a golf course, blah, 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 blah. And I fought this at Superior Court, you know, took it to the Municipal Court, Superior Court. I lost. Yeah, I just found out 2 weeks ago. But I wrote, you know, a long paper. I said I was driving while Black in a decent car. And it, you know, just being racially profiled. So, you know, me feeling this, me writing this book, I can't imagine what, you know, some people are really going through that, you know, that was a civil incident, but have a criminal incident like George Floyd. You know, my life wasn't at risk. You know, I stopped at I forgot what it was, some restaurant where there was a lot of people. It was in broad daylight. But I told him, I said, well, have you murdered any Black people in your career? His name is Van Hook. He said, no, I haven't. He's been a policeman for 30 years. And I mentioned that, you know, in the court, I said, that's not what this is about, policing. It's about white supremacist infiltration. It's not just in the police department. It's in military. We had it at the highest form of the presidency with Trump. Medicine, education. And people need to call this out because we cannot have another situation that they had in Germany during World War II. We will not have that. And that's why I love it that people are keeping the light on this, because we're going, you know, pro-fascism. And it's not just the United States. That's why I mentioned England with Brexit. I mean, Meghan and Harry left. I mean, can you tell me what was so bad about England? I always argue with people. I'm like, well, no, it's not. The United States is worse. I don't see Black men in London or England get killed and shot down. But what would make them leave? I mean, what is the racism in England? How is it worse in the United States?